The days of static petrol and diesel prices despite its volatility in international crude rates are over, with the Karnataka elections coming to an end on Saturday. After fuel prices stood unrevised for 19 days, public sector oil companies dropped a bombshell on Monday morning, and Minister of Statistics and Program Implementation DV Sadanand Gowda dropped an even bigger bomb. For Monday 6 a.m., a hike ranging from 17 to 21 paisa was announced, signaling that the rise in global crude prices was now being passed on to consumers. Petrol and diesel prices were last revised on April 24, with a hike of 13 paisa on petrol and 18 paisa on diesel. The timing of the spike raised a storm, as political opponents claimed that the hiatus proved the government forced autonomous public sector oil companies to not hike fuel prices before the Karnataka elections. The government denied the Karnataka Connect had anything to do with the 19-day frozen fuel prices spell, claiming oil companies were doing assessments and revision. Former Karnataka Chief Minister DV Gowda responded with a comment which could invite controversy. On the opposition's charge that the revision of fuel prices were kept on hold due to the Karnataka polls, he said, "Maybe everybody makes their strategy for elections. For that reason, the government, might have also kept increasing fuel prices in abeyance. Every political party does something during elections. It's too much of a coincidence that the second such spell has been during an election." Gujarat voted in December, and retail prices of petrol were virtually held static by daily, slashing 1 to 3 paisa for almost 14 days ahead of polls. Right after polling was over, fuel prices started going up from December 14. The impact of Monday's revision was instant. The biggest sore point was that diesel prices have now touched a record high, while petrol is at a 56-month peak. The determination of fuel prices and daily revision, adopted since last June, is based on the Indian crude basket prices and currency parity. While oil companies kept a lid on rising crude prices for 19 days, crude was turning dearer for the last week due to the end to the US-Iran deal and the rupee losing ground against the dollar. Since the hike in crude prices was kept artificially static for 19 days, Indian oil companies are estimated to have lost 500 crore rupees. Experts say, factoring in rising crude prices and the falling rupee, the price of fuel in the last 19 days should have gone up anywhere between 90 paisa to 1 rupee and 50 paisa per litre. However, none of the oil companies admitted that the prices were frozen due to a nudge from the government. Interestingly, the price of crude oil during these 19 days also fell daily in comparison, but oil companies didn't bring down the prices. Even a minor downward revision would have helped the government in Karnataka, but the option wasn't chosen, as this would have invited charges under the violation of the Model Code of Conduct, and offering sops to voters. This is another indicator of the theory that the reason for prices remaining static was largely political. This did help the oil companies, which absorbed hike in the crude prices to recover some of the losses. Oil companies refused to comment on the issue. Chairman of Indian Oil Corporation, Sanjeev Singh, had said last week, to avoid sharp rise and panic among consumers, public sector oil firms were temporarily moderating prices. After a week of static prices, he had denied any nudge from the government due to Karnataka polls. This, however, defies economic logic. The rupee has tumbled in the last few days, making imports more expensive. Weakening rupee has dropped to 67 to a dollar from 66.62 in the last few days. At the same time, the benchmark petrol and diesel prices, which decide the daily revisions, too, have changed. On April 24, the benchmark international rate for petrol prices to be raised to 74 rupees and 63 paise to a litre was $78.84 for a barrel. Since then, the benchmark has now risen to $82.98. Similarly, the benchmark international diesel rate on April 24 was $84.68 per barrel. Oil companies didn't hike diesel prices for 19 days despite its climb to $88.63 on Monday. The early morning fuel price hike triggered a fresh war of words between the government and the opposition. The Congress, which had questioned the zero revision during the Karnataka campaign, launched a frontal attack with its leaders taking to social media. All India Congress Committee Communications in charge and MLA Randeep Singh Surjewala tweeted, "Post-deception of people of Karnataka and the country by not raising petrol-diesel prices for 19 continuous days to garner votes. First salvo of petrol-diesel enhancement is fired. How many more to be fired to fleece the pockets of ordinary people?" Former Union Finance Minister P. Chidambaram tweeted, "There we go again. More taxes on petrol and diesel, more burden on the consumer." The Karnataka election was only an interval. Former Congress Lok Sabha member P.C. Chacko demanded the government should withdraw the excise duty on fuel and roll back the fuel price hike. There is no justification for the hike. This is backstabbing. They, the center, were just waiting for the Karnataka elections to be over. During the UPA regime, despite the price of crude crossing more than $100, the prices of fuel were still less than what they are today. Since 2014, excise duty has been increased 11 times and is now equal to the actual price, he said. In the recent past, the government had given a firm no to reducing the excise on fuels to provide relief to consumers. The center increased excise on petrol 9 times and reduced it only twice between November 2014 and January 2016 to earn more in the wake of dropping global prices. The NDA government had cut excise duty by 2 rupees per litre in October 2017 as petrol prices breached the 70 rupees and 88 paise a litre mark and 59 rupees and 14 paise for diesel. The government had nudged BJP-ruled states to cut their earnings on each litre of fuel. States like Maharashtra responded by reducing 2 rupees on petrol and 1 rupee on diesel. Despite these tweaks, the excise rise has helped the government double its earnings to 2.4 lakh rupees crore in 2016-17 compared to 99,000 crore rupees in 2014-15. Counting of votes for Karnataka Assembly election begins at 8 a.m. on Tuesday, May 15. Our live coverage begins at 7 a.m. Watch this space for the latest results. Follow our complete coverage here. Watch petrol, diesel prices hiked today after 19-day hiatus.